My name is Coleman Flaherty. I'm with White Collar Consult. I'm also a former defendant in the District of Massachusetts. I was sentenced back in 2016 to 1 year of home confinement. I pled guilty in 14. At the time, I had guidelines of 78 to 97 months. I did a ton of sentence mitigation work. It earned me a huge departure from the guidelines. I'm very knowledgeable in securities fraud, very interested in that, particularly around the area of pump and dumps, reverse mergers, Rule 144. That's my specialty. I've done a lot of work in that area in the past. This week in Boston, there was a defendant, Joe Padilla, sentenced to 66 months in prison, just over 5 years. I followed the case from his arrest all the way through to the sentencing. Basically, what the infraction was he was going out and obtaining shell companies and then merging companies into those public shells to create a publicly traded company. What he was doing was taking a free trading stock, which he was only allowed to own 5% of that stock via Rule 144, and he was hiding his ownership through nominee companies all over the world and essentially controlling the entire deal, controlling all of the free trading stock. So any volume that were coming to the stock, he owned all the shares, so he was able to sell all of his shares into the market. Basically the same thing that I did when I was approached by FBI back in 2012. Myself and my team were hiding our ownership and breaking Rule 144. That's what I was charged for and ultimately sentenced for. This is something, guys, that if you've been recently contacted by FBI, if you've been arrested or you've been indicted, the federal government is not fooling around when it comes to securities fraud, particularly with penny stock, pump and dumps, reverse mergers. Last year in securities fraud, 75%, or just a little over 73% of people that were charged with securities fraud ended up serving a prison sentence, and the average prison sentence was 46 months. And a large chunk of those were in penny stocks and reverse mergers. So this is something that, again, that the government is not fooling around with. I remember, talking with an FBI agent when I was charged, saying, it seems like other people have done much bigger wrongs than I have done. And his answer was, the penny stocks have just come on our radar as of late. This is something that we're really focusing on right now. We weren't focusing on it then. We're focusing on it now, and you're right in the middle of it. So if you've, if you've recently been contacted by FBI or charged with securities fraud or arrested and wondering what options might be available for you to obtain the lowest possible sentence, feel free to contact me, send me a direct message, or call me at the number below. I'm happy to share my personal story with you and the ordeal that I went through of being arrested, pleading guilty, going through pretrial for over 4 years, and then ultimately coming out the other end successfully. I'm happy to share my experience and what options might be available for you to get the lowest possible sentence.